What you're about to experience are my opinions and truths. I'm suggesting they're possibilities for you to consider, in which you can then come up with your own logical conclusions. Hello everyone, welcome once again. My name is Logan and this is Decode Your Reality. Today I'm going to be breaking down and decoding Mr. Homer Simpson and the character Lucifer. Now you may be wondering why I'm bringing these two characters together. Like what kind of relation do they have? Well, if you are a returning subscriber, thank you very much for your support, but you probably watched the decoding of The Simpsons, Donald Trump, and Lucifer, and you get a pretty good idea of how all this stuff is intertwined. This Matrix man has one sense of humor. If you're a new subscriber or a new person to this channel, thank you very much for joining. I'll just ask you to follow the breadcrumbs. We're going to be putting a puzzle together using multiple layers and modalities, and the methodology that I've discovered is a one of a kind. I don't know anybody else that's using this. There are people that use pieces of it, but I don't know that there are other people using it to this extensive nature. Now, I'm not trying to win a prize, but I'm just saying. Now, my methods of decoding, folks, first and foremost, I use numerology, as most of you know. And I primarily use these two ciphers. And what I mean by ciphers, you can go to this website here, gematrinator.com. I'll leave the links in the description. But there are so many different numerology ciphers, that are platforms that you can decode from. Primarily, I like to use the Chaldean and the English. The English is using the numbers 1 through 26 right here. And the numbers A through Z. A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, and so on. The Chaldean is the oldest known cipher in the world, in numerology, in the world of numerology. And it only uses the numbers 1 through 8, and it's a little bit, messy. It doesn't go in the natural order, but it goes by phonetics, the vibrational frequencies of numbers and letters. So to me, it's the most accurate. But nonetheless, these are the two I primarily use. So when we get an outcome from numerology, for example, let me digress and say, have you ever wondered why they chose the color pink for the car of The Simpsons? I never did. I mean, I'm not a huge watcher of the show, but you ever wonder why? Why do they choose pink? It's a very odd color for a car, especially a guy driving it. I mean, I know it's a family car, but nonetheless, I mean, pink is not a car you'd choose for a dude. Why did they choose that? Well, we're going to get into that during this presentation towards the end, so stick around for that because I got a real doozy for you. But I mean, I believe wholeheartedly, and again, these are just my opinions, this is my freedom of speech. It has everything to do with this right here, which is the chemical makeup of what's called adrenochrome. I'm working on the decoding of that. It's quite extensive. I'm not sure if I even want to finish it, but here it is right here, and it has a really disgusting nature to it, and pretty despicable actually. Most of you know what it's all about. It's in the news. Well, not mainstream, but it's in social media. But this is why I feel this is the reason why they chose this card here. Not insinuating anything on the founders or designers or the creators of the show, but as I always say, man is being used, folks. Man is being used. That's right. You could say possessed, possession, that's okay. Man is being used. And, the word adrenochrome, when you use the two ciphers, it's a 50 and a 119. I mean, notice the 119, it's tied to the 50th element. I mean, there's the tie-in for the 2 right there, which is tin, which is the merger of worlds. If you've been following my work, there's the 911, the mirror of it. But notice the word pink equals the number 50. So do you think that it's possible That's what they're insinuating here? I would like to think so. So, anyway, what I also do with this numerology, we bring in the elements of the periodic table, which I just showed. The element tin is right here. All these elements have numbers, folks, and you can take all your numerology expressions and the outputs and conclusions you come to, and you can come to this chart and you can tie them together, and you can look at all these pictures they have. Each one has a picture and there's a story behind that. That's where you start to get into more deeper decoding, and it goes past the surface of what could be, because connecting the dots with numerology, folks, will lead you to dead ends, man. You just can't be a good decoder by just using numerology. I just don't believe it. You can't. It doesn't cut the mustard. So the periodic table is important. Also going to be using number empire. You can put any number in here. It'll tell you if it's a prime number, Fibonacci number. Very, very important, and has merit. Notice that the word Homer equals the number 23. And that's a direct match of the 23rd card in the Cards of Illumination, which is another layer that I like to use. These cards are very accurate, as most of you that have been following my work know. And, you're going to have one of these, a few of these to your birthday, tied to your name. They're very accurate. The reason is because there are 52 cards in the deck matching the 52 weeks of the year. There are 4 suits matching that of the 4 seasons in nature. So again, very, very accurate. And they can be tied to numerology. Primarily just the Chaldean, because the English goes too high in some cases. That's why I feel this one is more important and can really be tied to the other layers. So notice that Homer's a 23, tied to the 10 of clubs, the 23rd card in the natural lineage of the cards, which is tied to the word crown in numerology. So we know that this card is tied to the word crown. 10 is the binary number. The government of Great Britain is located at 10 Downing Street. 10 Downing Street for the government of Great Britain, which is why it's the crown, folks. No mistake there, okay? 23 is also tied to the element vanadium. Probably pronounced that wrong. I always pronounce it wrong. Which is, of course, tied to tin, because this has an atomic mass of 50 and tin has 50 protons. And again, 23 is the crown, folks. Notice the letter V right there. Very, very important. The number 23 is the 9th prime number. So those are kind of the methods of my decoding as I go through this. Folks, that was the boring part. Are you ready for the exciting part? Here we go. Here is the presentation. So really, folks, it all started for me. I've been working on this for a while, and then I finally connected the dots. In 1967, the phenomenon band, the Beatles, came out with a song called Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. And, what does it mean? What the heck does it have to do with Homer Simpson? The Simpsons. Well, it's obvious, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, Lucy, Lucifer. That's a dead giveaway right there. And I kind of been leading towards perhaps Lucifer being feminine. More on that in a little bit, folks. But anyway, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds is really what this started off for me. It popped into my head one day. I looked it up, started studying the lyrics, started studying, the origins of it. And, notice that it's a number 311 as its total. And, this was taken right off Wikipedia. Paul McCartney remembered of the song's composition. We did the whole thing like an Alice in Wonderland idea. Being in a boat on the river. Every so often it broke off and you saw Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds all over the sky. This Lucy was God. The big figure, the white rabbit. Now notice the word white rabbit has a total numerology of 33, which, a common basic decoder is going to get all excited when they see that 33. But it has a lot of merit in this situation, and of course it always does, because the 33 is a pretty important number when it comes to decoding. And, this, of course, is tied to the planet Mars. But anyway, Alice in Wonderland, Boat on the River. If you know the Freemasons, it's all about row, row, row your boat. Life is but a dream. So there's merit to that as well. And of course, in the movie The Matrix in 1999, this was a screenshot. Neo was on the computer and it said, "Follow the white rabbit." Yeah, well, hello, it's right there, folks, you see? It's right there, and it's right inside the song Lucy in the Sky and Diamonds, which was written in 1967. So you think they have anything to do with one another? You bet your ass they do. Made this graph just the other day, posted it. This is the power in the animal cards. These cards, I didn't show these in the methods of decoding, but there are 52 cards in the medicine cards, the animal cards. They are basically following suit of the cards of illumination, the typical poker deck, the tarot set, all that stuff. But these use animals with the numbers instead of symbols, like the clubs and spades and diamonds and all that stuff. Notice the word Alice is a number 30, and she was following the rabbit, which is the 30th card in the animal tarot. Again, and of course, the rabbit is white, is it not? And again, going back to that Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds and what Paul McCartney said, the Alice in Wonderland was the idea, and Lucy was God, and it was the white rabbit. And of course, it's carrying the clock, which, perhaps maybe indicates Father Time, Saturn. And the trumpet there, maybe blowing that. Revelation, theology. A lot of symbology there, folks. But when you break this song down, and again, folks, I'm getting to the Simpsons, so stick with me. This is going to get really interesting. So when you break down the nouns in this title of this song, because these are, in, the, with, those are all filler words, but Lucy, Sky, Diamonds, those are the three big standouts. This right here is tied to the word Satan. Same thing. Satan is 55. But anyway, Lucy is 61. And I thought it was interesting because, see, the element promethium is the 61st element. Notice the atomic weight or mass, 144. For those of you that know theology, you know how important the 144,000, the chosen ones, is all about. And of course, latitude, longitude comes into play. Denver Airport, Denver, Colorado, the latitude, longitude, when you add up the two, it becomes 144. Wuhan in China becomes 144. These are really important places. 144 is really a big deal. Tied to Lucy. And Promethium, the story of that is, this was the deity that stole the fire and stole the fire from the gods and gave it to the humans. Which, if you relate that to the snake telling Eve, "You positively will not die," it's kind of like giving her the keys to the kingdom. Like, you want to go ahead and eat that fruit because that's the tree of, of knowledge, or of good and bad. And giving that to Eve, giving her that choice, kind of falls in line with the whole story of Promethium. The number 311, folks, is the 64th prime number. And 64 is tied to our DNA, because that's why I have the X here, because our chromosomes, there are 64 possibilities. That's a huge number when it comes to us, the X. And of course, these ends here, this is the four faces of God talked about in Ezekiel 1 verses 10. That's why there are four sides. Diamonds is 79, that equals gold. You couldn't have picked a better element to represent this statement and song. So that's what started it off for me, folks. Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, and then it led me to the Simpsons. How crazy is that? But that's just how it works. And this is really where it kind of picked off right here, was studying his license, Homer Simpson's license. I came across the article here from Metro, and this is what started it from Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, because they pointed this out, and this came out just this year. Really bizarre. There's some syncs there. 447. I didn't even decode this guy's names. Of course, synchronicity always plays a role. But why come out with this now? They're saying, that his license was revealed in an Easter egg, and it was a while ago, but it's just now coming out. It's just really bizarre. And of course, they're pointing out that Homer's 64 years old. Right now, he's 64 years old, and as I showed you with this Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, 311, it's the 64th prime number. Of course, as fate would have it, right? The game of life is fixed. So that's what started it, and this is kind of where we're going to go with this, folks. This is where Lucifer comes into play. There's a lot of symbology on this license. We're going to get into some of that. I wanted to point out the driver's license number. There it is, C4043243. I could even went even deeper with this one, but when you do the numerology on that, it becomes the number 23, which I showed in the beginning. That's tied to the word crown, tied to the word Homer, and of course tied to the element vanadium. I wanted to point out right below the element there, circled or highlighted, is Lucifer's sigil. No secret there. It's a pretty esoteric sigil. Been around for a long time. I've color-coded it to match with the 23rd element because, you see, I feel, and I decoded Lucifer's sigil, one of my first videos I ever did a long time ago. And I feel that this is the reason why this V's there. You see the V? Which is right there. And of course the V means 5, which the 5, if you study the 5, which it's right there in the weight of this element, it's the only letter that looks like a snake. It's the only one. And I believe that's the reason why this V is very predominant right here, which I've made stand out. Typically it's just all one color, but I put it there on purpose to show you the possible tie-ins to this element. I mean, what do you think though? What do you see? I think it's pretty obvious what's going on. And you got to ask yourself, how does Simpsons predict all these kinds of things? Either Groening and company are really time travelers, or they're getting some help. And that's a possibility, folks. I mean, there is a thing as remote viewing as well, but I don't know if you can actually look into the future with that. Some people say, oh, there's that looking glass and people can look into the future, but is that really what's going on? I don't know anything that exists. Have you ever seen that before? Have you ever used it? So it's just all an opinion. It's all an opinion, folks. We're trying to tie together to see what's going on here. What about the symbology of his face? Look at his eye. One eye is closed, one is open. That's definitely a symbolic aspect of the all-seeing eye, which is tied to this element right here, the 51st element, antimony. And notice the 120, the 12 means completion, 3, 6, 9, 12 hours on a clock. 0 means infinite potential. In the Royal Society of Chemistry that I showed you earlier with this presentation on my methods of decoding, this is the photograph that they chose to put to represent antimony, which is the all-seeing eye of Horus, the ancient Egyptian deity. They used to put antimony under their eyes for mascara, according to history. There's the all-seeing eye, folks. Antimony's a 28, matching that of Lucifer. And then, let's not forget the word Horus, because this is the all-seeing eye of Horus, is 23. And 23 is linked to the crown and the actual driver's license number of Homer Simpson. And, of course, the 23rd element, which is tied to Lucifer's sigil. So you see, I could see if I was just showing one or two things, but look how many things I'm showing that are tied together with these two energies. It's a no-brainer right there. You'd have to be completely ignorant and just turn a blind eye to say, no, that's not what it means. But again, that's just my opinion. So here we go. How about his name in the English? Homer J. Simpson equals the number 174, which is tied to the element lutetium, the 71st element. 7 and 1 is the numbers of creation backwards, the seventh day of rest, the first day of creation. Lutetium, notice its numbers, 174. I mean, how do you say Lucifer? Lu. It's right there, Lu, lutetium. I mean, are you seeing that, folks? Am I trying to fit a square peg in a round hole? And again, I'm not looking for a pat on the back here. Clear what's going on. And here it is from Manly P. Hall, the great Freemason. He's got many books out, looked up to. Secret Teachings of All Ages. Lucifer is represented by the number 741. Well, there it is. It's not the exact same, but it doesn't have to be. It's still expressed. It's a no-brainer that this is one of the elements of Lucifer. Period, folks. If you study the stuff with the elements, this is it. I mean, look at this. This is the show that was on Netflix. First episode date, January 25th. The January 25th card, using that chart that I showed you earlier. I'm going to pop it up on the screen for you. January 25th is the Two of Diamonds. Two of Diamonds in the lineages of the cards is the 28th card. Once again, Lucifer is 28. I mean, do you think they're sitting down, the writers, and choosing when to release these episodes? Perhaps. But I think man is being used. Again, 25, the word adversary equals the number 25. The word black sun equals the number 25. The word parasite equals the number 25. I mean, I can go on and on. This is the big standout right here. Again, are they choosing this on purpose, or are they being used to do it? So there you go. Homer Simpson matches Lucifer and its weight and its element using the English. And that's a match of the planet Saturn and Venus. Now, it's possible, folks, that, in the show, Lucifer, he says, he goes by Lucifer Morning Star, and, most of you know Venus is the morning star. And in Isaiah 14, verses 12, it talks about Lucifer being cast out, being the morning star, and that's Venus. And Venus starts with the letter V, which I showed you was the 23rd element. Venus. Could Venus be Lucy? Could Venus be Lucy in the sky with diamonds? And of course, Father Time. Is Lucy the daughter of Saturn? Is Lucifer really feminine? I mean, I know it's a male figure, but could it be? Or just is it androgynous? But look at this. Saturn, Venus is 174, which is a match to Homer Simpson, which is a match to lutetium, which is a match to Lucifer. Or is this just the feminine side of Saturn? A lot of people think Saturn is Satan. Well, is this the feminine side of Satan? Possible. What about his birthday on the card, folks? That was the whole point of the article that I showed you. 5/12/56, May 12th, 1956, was a leap year that year, which is important. But notice this is the card associated with May 12th. It's the 7 of Diamonds. Again, I go back to 7. There's the 7 right there. You see the 7? 7 of Diamonds. May 12th card. It's the 33rd card in the deck, folks. And it's tied to Homer Simpson's birthday. Now, I said, why are the Simpsons yellow? Why are they depicted as yellow? It's my opinion that they're representing the planet Mars, because Mars is the 3rd planet, which is the 3rd chakra, which is yellow. It's the second brain. The gut instinct. My instincts tell me something's going on. That's Mars, masculine. Well, Venus, which is right below that, in the second position, is orange, the sacral. And 2 and 3 is the crown. But notice that 33, matching that of the card of the birthday of Homer, is arsenic. And 3 is yellow. It's Mars. That's why I have the arrow pointing to Homer. This is the only atomic weight of arsenic. It doesn't have multiple like many other elements do. And it has the actual remnants of Jesus, because Jesus was, the story was, he was crucified at the age 33. And then his name in numerology in the English is 74, which it's right there. Literally, it's inside the box. And arsenic is poisonous. When you're talking about killing somebody, even though, of course, the story is he was put to death on a cross or a stake, whatever, he was still put to death, which obviously plays a role with arsenic. But then we have another layer to observe it from, and that's Lucifer is also 74. So these two share the same number. So are these two characters one and the same? Or are they brother and sister? Is this the feminine and is this the masculine? Questions that are worth pondering and looking into, folks. Is this the duality that we're looking at right here? The black and white. That's what I believe. That's what you're looking at. The duality. The personality of the divine. Right there. Good cop, bad cop. Well, Homer Simpson is related to the element arsenic, 33. And the number 7. And the number 12. 12 is magnesium. Magnetic. Magnesium. Magnetic. Here's another layer to observe from the chakras and astrology. You know, Venus is the second planet. It's orange. Venus is orange. And the second zodiac sign is Taurus, the bull. That's why you have the Holy Bible, the 2 horns, Old Testament, New Testament. The bull. The Bible. It's Taurus, and Taurus is Venus. It's right there. These represent the sexual organs of the male and female. The 2 ovaries. That's what this represents. And it's number 2. You know, next year, folks, is the Chinese zodiac, the ox. Because this year's the year of the rat, the first Chinese zodiac symbol. Next year's the ox, number 2. We're literally moving into a Taurus year next year, according to the Chinese zodiac. But this is important right here, folks. And Homer is Mars. Lastly, on this license here is Lucifer and the month of May, because again, he was born May 12th. Well, May is 39. That's a direct match of the original spelling in Hebrew/Aramaic in the Old Testament of Lucifer, as talked about in Isaiah 14 verses 12. This is the actual real spelling of it. And it's a 39, which of course is linked to yttrium and 88 and time travel. And I didn't even want to put that in there because I wanted to focus on this. 39. And I believe the Simpsons, folks, are being used to perhaps tell the story of what's going on, and that's how they're able to actually give us things that happen in our reality months, years before they ever happen, because something's peeking into the future. It's either that or Matt Groening and company are time travelers. It's one or the other. And this is what I showed earlier. I mean, again, the pink on the car, adrenochrome. Well, what about the 50? Well, adrenochrome, I mean, here it is in chemistry. It's pink by color. I mean, that's why they have the pink in, you can see Justin Bieber, pink hair. Lady Gaga, pink hair. Anybody that you see in the mainstream that's wearing pink that is popular, adrenochrome. I mean, you can almost guarantee it. And again, that's just my opinion. But I mean, look at this. 119, when you say that, is 50. Which is tin. Which is pink. And then, I bring in this card because, if you start to understand our reality, David Icke, I think, is absolutely correct when he says we have people that are reptilian and they live amongst us, for sure. I mean, that card right there tells you alligator is a reptile. And what do? They feed on flesh and blood. Of course. Makes sense. Makes total sense. I mean, here's Lady Gaga. This is right off of her Instagram. Beware vampires. This was when the COVID-19 came out. That's when I took this screenshot. And she said, beware of the blood you choose. I mean, she's not even trying to hide it. And then, here is something from her video. I mean, what color do you see there, folks? I mean, a lot of symbolism going on here. A lot. But it's clear who she's owned by, who she works for, and what she does. She's a vampire. She says it right here. She's telling you that. Amazing singer, one of the best voices ever, but she's a vampire. Well, hey, that's good luck to you, Lady Gaga. It's all good, it's all good. I don't care. I'm not judging. I'm just simply pointing out the obvious. And that's what it's all about, is pink. And that's why, I believe this car is pink. That's my take on it. Even the Illuminati card game, Immortality Serum, they have a card. I mean, right there, if you want to live forever, you want to join us? They're not kidding. They're not joking when they put this stuff here. And if you know the card game, and you've seen them, you know that a lot of them that are on there have completely come true. How are they able to do that? Because man is being used. Sure, you can predict, you can map out your agenda and all that stuff, but not at the way they're doing it. They need help to have these obligations fulfilled. So that's it, folks. What did you see during this presentation? Again, another long one, but, what did you see during this presentation? I mean, this guy right here is representing the planet Mars. That's why, Elon Demon Musk, he's like, he wants to go to Mars. And, Mars, when you match up Mars with Venus, you have the crown, because Venus is 2 and Mars is 3. That's 23. That's why Michael Jordan wore the number 23. That's why LeBron James wears the number 23. Jim Carrey was in a movie, the number 23. I mean, it's everywhere if you look for it. It has everything to do with Venus and Mars. And you have to start studying this stuff and paying more attention. That's why Homer and the Simpsons are yellow. They represent Mars. They represent the second brain, our gut instincts. They're trying to take over your gut instincts. And they're doing it through predictive programming. So anyway, that's all I got for today. My name is Logan. This is Decode Your Reality. Thank you so much for watching.